Okay, so you want it interesting, right? Well, get this. This deep dive is taking us all the way to a Nigerian courtroom.
Ooh, this is gonna be good. Lay it on me.
So we've got a guy, John, taking his ex-girlfriend, Tasha, to court because he paid for her college education, and he expected a marriage proposal out of it.
Whoa, hold up. He's suing her over a degree. That's a new one.
Right. It sounds wild, but it gets even juicier. His argument is basically, I paid for the piece of paper, so where's my ring? Like some kind of transaction.
Wow. I mean, I can already see how this is going to be about way more than just these two people, right? Like, there's a whole cultural context here that's important.
You hit the nail on the head. He actually calls sponsoring her education the most Nigerian gentlemanly thing a man can do. So clearly there's an expectation there we need to unpack.
Definitely. See, in Nigeria, when someone sponsors your education, it's not just about the money. It's a huge social investment, like with big expectations, especially when it comes to marriage. It's almost like an unspoken agreement. You're investing in their future, and the understanding is it leads to a lifelong commitment.
And it wasn't just tuition either. The article mentioned he was buying her textbooks, even covering her groceries, like he was taking care of everything.
Exactly. That's the thing. John wasn't just paying for classes. He was basically saying, I'm the provider here. And that plays right into that traditional role, expecting her to become the dedicated partner in return.
Okay, but get this. Tasha, armed with that very same education he paid for, totally turns the tables.
Now, this is where it gets good. What'd she say?
Her defense is killer and straight to the point. I got the degree. I didn't sign a love contract. Mic drop, right?
Oh, she went there. And honestly, it's brilliant. She's challenging that whole assumption that education equals automatic marriage. And I think it reflects how a lot of younger people see relationships these days. They want the agency to choose their own path, whether it leads to marriage or not.
And the story just blew up from there. This didn't stay in the courtroom. People were all over this, calling John the crying sponsor and everything. It became a whole social media
No
movement.
way, the crying sponsor. That's hilarious and kind of sad at the same time. But you know what? It shows this really struck a nerve. Suddenly, everyone's talking about changing social norms and expectations around education and relationships. It's like social commentary disguised as a news story.
Oh, for sure. And speaking of differing perspectives, did you catch the part about John's friends? They were saying he should have gotten her to sign a sponsor agreement before paying for anything. Can you imagine?
Oh man, that's too funny. But also kind of telling, you know? It shows that generational divide, right? Some people, like those friends, are holding on to those traditional ideas.
Totally. While others are more like, hey, times are changing. Which makes you wonder about John himself. He actually ends up enrolling in evening classes.
Yeah.
So who knows, maybe he'll find what he's looking for through education too, even if it's not the love he expected.
It really makes you think. This seemingly small story from Nigeria touches on stuff happening all over the world. How do we balance personal desires with societal expectations? How much is education about love and marriage versus individual growth?
Right, big questions. It's like, what does a successful life even look like these days? And how much do those old expectations still influence our choices? Lots to chew on there.
Absolutely. This crying sponsor might have gotten more than he bargained for.
He sure did. And maybe, just maybe, it'll spark some interesting conversations along the way.